Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 5th of January 2013. I really want to start the program off as a dedication and a partial beginning of a multi-level fundraiser for the Degarmo family. Daniel Degarmo and his wife Serena have just recently lost their 2-month-old son. And I'm going to share with you one of the ways that they are in need of assistance. And there's a fundraiser for their child. The other thing that's going on is Daniel is also the treasurer of Daughters of Ruth, the women and children's homeless shelter and mentorship program established here in Chillicothe, Ohio. Now, for those that are not aware of the situation, the doors were no longer taking clients. The doors were shut to new clients. You can see on this page that $9,834 has been raised of a $10,000 goal, and you see a picture of Isaiah in the picture here. There is a giving link. They're 98% raised for this, but many others want to continue the life and legacy of what they're doing. He's also a local pastor here in the area, and he doesn't know that I'm doing this on air. But tonight's show is completely dedicated to Daughters of Ruth and the Daniel and Serena Degarmo family, so we'll be posting and sharing this fundraiser link and about Daughters of Ruth. Now, to talk about Daughters of Ruth, Brandon and I have had quite a history with Daughters of Ruth, and for those of you that want to know more about what they're doing, it's a mentorship program for the women and children. They partner with the local churches here in Chillicothe, and what they were doing was essentially making certain that the women and children were off the streets. Like right now, it's 20 degrees outside. Here's their website, and I'm going to post these two links within the chat tonight. So that's Daughters of Ruth 10, and there's a donation button for that. There's also, for the other page here, I'm going to share that as well, so then you can see for yourselves how to donate. But this whole program this evening is going to be about that. And so people can know. What I've done is I've shared it in groups. I've shared it in prayer groups, other pages. Here's my suggestion. This is what I like to see. Just share the link. You know, you support us at JMC Ministries. We don't give you other ministries that we talk about that don't have clout, that are not reliable. This is a reliable ministry. He's a local pastor in the area, and as I said, his 2-year-old son just died. 2-month-old, excuse me, not two. Yeah, 2-month-old son just died, and I can't imagine how I can feel like that. Miranda's struggling, as you know, with her Crohn's disease. She got sick during an interview with Mike Wells, the pastor of Living Waters Fellowship. You'll actually see coming up here soon. You're going to get to see a nice, wonderful interview that we posted of them. In fact, Pastor MDW is in the chat room right now. Not sure anyone else is involved. I know many people try and communicate, chat, whatnot with this, but when I post links, you're not able to watch the show at the same time and do other things. But yeah, I'm going to have pictures and stuff of that shared on our page, but that's what we're going to start out with. I'll be active in the chat room tonight as well, so then this information can be shared with the other pastors, because we need to get the doors of this shelter open immediately. It should have opened on the 1st, but it couldn't. They're still behind about $2,000 to $3,000 a month for the 12 months of the year. That's what's needed right now. Then on top of that, what else is going on? Well, I can quite simply tell you the biggest thing that's happening is we have been extremely busy this last 3 weeks. We have done about 8 interviews We did Pastor Steve Snook and Sean King in Santa Monica's Flash Mob. We did Kathy Macias, which you'll hear more about Kathy Macias, the unexpected Christmas hero, later tonight, about Willard reuniting with his family. We've had interviews with Shine Morrison and Tara Johnson, both singer-songwriters that have a ministry. And of course, Mike Wells' podcast is already posted. The video will be posted very soon. But speaking of this subject, I have a good friend and ministry partner that I want to talk about real quick. Jeremy Reynolds. This is a conversation that we have had before this post was ever made on the Christian Newswire, that we share a lot of their news that comes out and through emails sent to us. But the title of this whole story, and it's something that Daughters of Ruth, other ministers and people across the country can relate to, is their concern about the fiscal cliff stuff that just happened, tax reforms, whatnot, new rules, regulations, and the fact that they are seeing an increased need of people needing help. But at the same point, we're seeing less people donate, give, volunteer. If they are volunteering, we're seeing inconsistencies. And he for those who don't know who Jeremy Reynolds is, he is Joy Junction, the New Mexico's largest emergency homeless shelter, who served more than 50,000 meals in 2011. More than in 2012, more than 2011. Got the numbers back up. But he's a doctor with a PhD. He's been a good friend of mine for a couple of years. I actually found him through Mark Horvath was doing Invisible People, and I found him on a live stream, Invisible People, and I found him on a live stream chat that he was Mark was interviewing Jeremy, and I started talking in the chat room, and he was taking my questions, and we just started talking from there. Shared my homeless story and some other things, but that is kind of related to what's going on now. Another big story that's going on, there's a viral video going on, and I can't pull it up or it'll start playing. Dynasty, big TV show. Willie Robertson is actually preaching in a video that you can watch. And he shares about you should not be afraid to share your faith at any time. And he holds his Bible up, and I listen to him, and I'm paraphrasing, of course. He says, share your faith. Share what Christ has got for you in your life. Let people know, that the light lives within you, because there's no reason why you shouldn't. Good example of that, let's look at Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee was promoting today, for those of you who know about Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby is a big Christian company. In fact, that's where I got my shadow box for my Veterans Awards, military awards. Miranda's gotten yarn and other things there. They're closed on Sundays, and if you're a Christian and you listen really well, you'll notice that classical music is contemporary Christian music many times. And what's happening is they're trying to fight the HHS mandate. And today was Appreciation Day. Well, stats have come in throughout the whole day from Hobby Lobby and reported to Mike Huckabee and others. It looks like over 60,000 people across the United States made January 5th Hobby Lobby Appreciation Day, which reminds us of what, Miranda? Chick-fil-A Day. So, yes, Christians can unite, get something done, and stand up for a good cause, a good business, even though, things are holding up against them. What do you think, Miranda? What do you think of that?
I thought it was very good. I mean, we didn't get a chance to go to Hobby Lobby because we were doing an interview. So
they have 500 stores in 40 states with over 13,000 full-time employees. In fact,
I love Hobby Lobby. When we go in there, I could stay in there all day. In the paint and the art section. Excuse me, I had to hiccup. And then take me over to the crocheting knitting department, and I'd be in there another half day.
Now, I am going to play this next video because I just have to do it, because you have to see and hear, and I've already gotten permission. For those of you that know me, I grew up in Texas, and I went to Huntington First Baptist Church, and they hired a youth pastor by the name of Randy Wager. Imagine if Gallagher became a Christian youth pastor, and that's what I had. We literally did the milkshakes with a tiny little coffee straw, covered in milkshake, burping contest. We would do the Bible study. We did all sorts of crazy, weird, wacky games. But at the same point, we had a good half an hour after acting crazy, being hot and sweaty, getting into the Word. Well, he went to Passion 2013. And I'm going to share this video with you. You have to see this if it plays properly. This is over 60,000 people worshiping in the Georgia Dome. Now imagine if that was your own town. Your own church. Your own community. Young, old, singing to Jesus. I think effectively we can do this all over. What do you think, Miranda, as you watch this? So what for those of you on the podcast, what you're not seeing is hands raised high and voices singing to Christ. And it's not a game, it's not a show, it's completely real. This was the actually the next to last night, the day 4 of the event. And I think it really opened the realm of the world for people to wake up. Now there's another story that I want to transition to. An LA attorney loans his house to a homeless family in need. And as I said, I've been homeless before. I've been poor, I've been beaten, I've been raped, I've been shot at. I've had a lot of weird stuff happen to me. Even though I've not been, the naive little kid that I was. But this Harvard lawyer, his name is Tony Tolbert. You'll have to click on the link later and it'll be in the story. But I wanted to talk about that. All these stories are connected together, and I think it's really great. Now my good friend over at
well, what happened? What happened to the homeless family?
He's just allowing them to stay there so they can get back on their feet.
Okay, I was just confused why we were talking about it.
That's the story. Kindness and generosity. People giving to others that are in need. Okay. Now, one of my friends, and I call him friends, he works at Lifeway, and he's also involved with Centrifuge, Mfuge, which I attended back in Texas, going to Tennessee and Florida. Tom S. Rayner, he just wrote a guest column for the Christian Post called 10 Common Things Church Members Communicate to Pastors. And he said he asked 22 pastors to share the most common items that they hear from their church. He said 11 were over the age of 40, an equal number under. He said number 1 was requests for hospital visits and visits to those that are ill. Number 2 is attend events and meetings at the church. 3, criticisms of all kinds. 4, updates on someone's health. I'm actually going to read the rest of them because they're really, really important. That was number 4. Number 5 is books. Hey, Pastor, I bought this book. You should read it, kind of thing. Number 6, encouragement. And it's not just been from, pastor to the congregation. It's been pastor to pastor as well on that. Things to fix the church, sermon suggestions, theological, biblical questions, jokes, and spam. Those seem to be the top 10 things that happened last year. This was just, brought up. Now, another thing that's the top 10 that we didn't see, this was another link. There was the King James Bible Online posted on their website over 7 million website visits. What are the top Bible verses of 2012? And what's interesting about this, even though it's a King James version, it's practically almost synonymously the same for NIV or the Common English Bible. So as I read these different verses, I'm just going to give you, the book and the chapter and the verse. think about these. We got Psalms 23:4 about the shadow of death. Philippians 4:13, I can do all things. John 3:16, which one year was number one. Like when Tim Tebow, I think, did it in 2011, it was number one. Genesis 1:1, Corinthians 13:11, 2 Chronicles 7:14. 7, interesting enough, Jeremiah 29:11, plans, prosper. Ephesians 6:12, wrestling principalities. 2 Timothy 1:7, spirits of fear. And Genesis 1:2. All these verses, the actual verses and everything else, they'll be posted. You can go to a link on that. Don't worry. I just have a lot that I want to cover tonight and just go through there. Now, something that I'm going to do an update next week is what's happening with Open Doors. Open Doors, and I'm not talking about the Open Doors church that I went to in Nevada or the one that's here in Chillicothe. I'm talking about Open Doors USA, which is very similar to Voice of the Martyrs. They're going to release on January 8th in Washington, D.C. at a press conference the worst persecution list. And it'll be a watch list of 50 countries that are the worst persecution of all Christians in the world during this press conference. There'll probably be a video that I'll be able to share. There'll be other things that I'll be able to do. And I think that in itself is going to be very, 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 very good. As I said, we have a few more stories, and I'm waiting to see when Miranda's ready. She's got a story that she wants to share with us tonight, too, about a song when she's ready for it. Are you ready for that now? Okay. Miranda's got a song that she wants to talk about, and as Mike's in the chat having fun, it's, what's strange about our chat, it's like I said, there's not a lot of people normally in the chat. At this time of year, it's just some people are still traveling. The busy times at chat we've had is like from February to May. And then summer it dies down, and then March, and then like December, August to about November, we get a lot in the chat. But Miranda's gonna talk about a song that really stands out to her. She's not feeling great. Mike saw her earlier. She actually looks a lot worse than what she did earlier. Her face is a lot red. She's really sick. In fact, I don't know how she's completely able to hold up all the time, other than by power of Christ. So, without further ado, here is Miranda's story about the band Plumb. Now, I remember when Plumb first came out, a really kind of edgy, hard band. This was like 97, 96.
Something like that.
95? I
never really thought she was that hard. I mean, I thought her lyrics were just... everybody knows... even secular people know her Plumb from her song Cut about self-mutilation. But she just came out with a new song called I Need You Now. And... every time I hear this song, I just bawl, because it's exactly the same words I've cried out to God about my disease and everything I go through on a daily basis. And if you've never heard the song, you need to listen to it. It is an extremely powerful song. And she wrote the song about her struggle with anxiety attacks in high school. She had horrible anxiety attacks. And she would go into the bathroom during class or in the middle of class when she would have these anxiety attacks, and she would sit in the bathroom stall and just cry. And she would say, "No fear, do not fear," and because that's basically what you do when you have anxiety. You're scared to death, and that was why she wrote the song. It's about her struggle with anxiety attacks. Mm-hmm. And when I listen to the song, it's like I'm hearing myself speak, and like the prayers I've cried out to God. And I'm going to go ahead and read you the lyrics to the song, and then in the archive video, in the podcast, we'll have the link to the video so you can watch it for yourself and listen to this amazing song. But the first verse goes, "Well, everybody's got a story to tell, and everybody's got a wound to be healed. I want to believe there's beauty here. 'Cause I get so tired of holding on. I can't let go. I can't move on. I want to believe there's meaning here. How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I need you. God, I need you now. Second verse. Standing on a road I didn't plan, wondering how I got to where I am. I'm trying to hear that still small voice. I'm trying to hear above the noise. How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I need you. God, I need you now. Though I walk through the shadows, and I am so afraid. Please stay right by my side. With every single step I take, how many times have you heard me cry out? And how many times have you given me strength? How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I need you. God, I need you now. That's the song. I made it through without crying.
Yep, and that's why I had her at least tell you the words of the song. You can listen to it later.
I think anybody can, especially with, there's so many horrible things going on right now. So many, things have happened to people that they would never have thought they would be going through. And this song really, I think, speaks to a lot of people today. And all the tragedy we have discussed, what's going on, and so much uncertainty in the world.
Yeah.
Whew.
Well, going from that, God does hear us now. And we did an interview, as I said, with Kathy Macias earlier this month. And I didn't bring the book with me, but...
No, it was last month.
Last month. Yeah, it was last month, December. It's a new month now. I made my first goof up of the year.
No, you did not.
My first goof up of dates. But anyway, I've had 3 major bonkers this
Bonkers.
year. Bonkers, as I'm going to call them. Bonkers. Bloopers, bonkers, whatever you want to call them. But anyway, Kathy Macias.
Let us just pray you don't say what you did last week.
Ooh, okay, we probably won't. Kathy Macias.
I hope so.
She is a writer and a blogger, and she's an award-winning writer, blogger. She wrote a book called The Unexpected Christmas Hero. Now, in this story, I can briefly tell you, what happens is the man on the cover of the book, they didn't have a cover yet, and they wanted a homeless man, and it took a while. Took quite a while, and they finally found someone, got his permission, and took a picture of him. Well, the picture of the book and the book started, to get into fruition. And the family of this homeless man named Willard says, "That's my dad. I want to see my dad. Can you help me?" And she's like, "Yes, we can." So she created a fundraiser to raise enough funds. He was in one area while one of his daughters was in another, which is near Toledo. I think he was in, Pennsylvania or something like that. But anyway, he transferred from one location to another. And he was now, as of today, the reunion has happened. And I'm going to share with you photos of the reunion of this former homeless man. There's Willard and one of his daughters. There's more pictures in here as I'll scroll through this. And you'll see what's happening. There's grandkids. He has never in his entire life seen his grandkids. I can tell you right now, there's homeless people in Ohio outside of Willard who can say the same thing. I've seen people that were involved with drugs and alcohol, stealing, whatnot. Maybe just came in bad situations, made bad choices, and they've never seen the grandkids. Well, he's getting to. And that was Amber and his 2 kids. So, honestly, there's a big paragraph you can read. We'll have a link to the story so you can read about that. And you can also order the book.
Yeah, also, you didn't say what, there's something, Willard is fighting,
he's
cancer.
fighting, what is it, leukemia, I believe?
He's fighting cancer.
He's fighting cancer.
And it doesn't appear that he's going to
and
survive it.
He has a disease, and in the story, the unexpected Christmas hero is a veteran who has a disease, who tries to help a woman and her 2 kids. And it's just so interesting. He's homeless, and he gets to see his daughter and his grandkids, while the actual book is about a homeless man helping another homeless woman with her homeless kids. And what he does is what I call one of the greatest sacrifices you could possibly do. You have to read this book because it'll change your life, because it's something a regular person is not going to want to do on their own. It's just not going to happen. It just doesn't work that way. And then Miranda wanted me to share a little bit about, and actually I might have Miranda start this off. For those of you that know, I'm a blogger, a syndicated blogger for the P.P. Simmons network, which is Carl Gallups' network. He posts a bunch of quite interesting things that that happens throughout the day. And I said, well, I wanted to shed a different kind of light onto this network, because it's a very, very large network of Christians and others and whatnot. And while I've met many people that don't agree with everything that gets posted, I understand that. I don't agree with everything that gets posted either. But it's an opportunity to get the message out. They're supporting me. In fact, when you go to the P.P. Simmons website, our blog, and I can show it to you here. I'll show you this first. Our ministry blog is actually linked on every single post. God just opened this door. Like, there's all their posts about, end of the world stuff and weapons of mass destruction. And here's our interviews with Tara and everything else. So it's getting the word out. But anyway, I wanted to ask Miranda, because this is the story, and I know I'm moving this image around a lot, which is fine. As I get this shrunk down so you can see it. The recreation of the movie Les Miserables. Now, I have seen Les Miserables in junior high, in the 7th grade, in the 8th grade. Then again, I saw it in my 9th grade year. Now, the interesting part about my 9th grade year is I saw the original posts. And what I mean is the old extreme black and white video. And I saw the foreign film that was all French. I've seen the play. I've seen this movie a lot. I don't know why at first that I kept seeing this movie, but here's the new image of the new one with Cosette. I think that's Cosette, isn't that her name?
That's Cosette.
Cosette. Miranda, tell me your thoughts about Les Miserables. Like, not the story necessarily, because I'll explain the story, but what do you get out of the movie Les Miserables?
That.
Not spoiling the story.
Okay. That if we can forgive others for the wrongs they have done us, we are giving the person who did us wrong possibly a second chance of a better life just by forgiving them. And giving them a chance to make something better of themselves than they were before. And possibly even returning the favor of forgiveness to someone else. That's what I get out of it.
All right. Well, one of the things I got out of the story, and I'll put myself back up. The biggest thing I got out of the story is I never had a father. And here's this man. It's the first thing that hit me with in high school. I had to think back on this. I didn't write this in the articles because I wanted to talk about it on the show. Back then, I never knew I had a father, and here's this man that had a bad background and made a mistake and got a second chance in life, He turns around and starts helping people. And I said, that's odd. I'm used to seeing men hurt me and not able to trust men and women because I'm always getting hurt, abused by people. And then I saw this one moment, because here I am in high school. I'm involved in ministry at this point. And this priest, says, here, let me help you. And when you get to that point in the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about.
The priest actually said, I forgive you.
He says, well, depending on the version you watch, you're right. Miranda's right. One version, the guy says, I forgive you. Here, take this along your journey. And he's like, but and I'm not going to spoil the whole story, because if I do, then, it's not going to be as impactful. But what essentially happens with my story with Les Miserables is I talk about how it's come to life. What I mean is real life, current day situations in America where people have shown, what word would you use?
Forgiveness.
What kind of forgiveness? Everyday, average forgiveness?
No.
No, what kind of forgiveness?
The same forgiveness as Christ.
Yeah.
Gives us.
And what happens, and I'm going to share these stories with you, because you can read the whole thing in here. But before I do that, since it is the second half of the hour, I do want to talk about again Daniel Degarmo's son that passed away, and how that there'll be a link below where you can donate. It's already in the chat, because we support what they're doing. And medical expenses for a 2-month-old to a 42-year-old, it's not easy.
And then a
funeral. And they're also trying to get the Daughters of Ruth back open. So there's links that we'll post in that. But to get back to Les Miserables and everything, there's a story at wishtv.com where a church, and this can be related to here in Chillicothe and elsewhere because churches have been robbed in this area. But the end result was not the same. Instead of this church suing people or asking for the police, to find them and arrest them and whatnot, this church says, we want to know what you need. Are you trying to pay for rent or debts or food or something? Because he says, that's what we're here for. We don't want to turn you into the police. We don't want you to have a criminal record. We want to get you back on your feet and get you a job and come to our church and we'll help you. Now, how many churches, much less how many people, Miranda, do you ever hear this kind of thing happening? Because I haven't seen it in a long time. It's normally, there's a police report filed at Miranda's Appointee Hat Ministries because somebody busted out the chandelier. Or at Jeremy'sChurch.com, somebody, stole all the turkey wings out of the refrigerator. There's a reward out. There's a reward out. And the ministries are getting interviewed saying, my stuff was stolen. I want retribution. I want justice. And that's it. Not, hey, we're here to help you. If you need assistance, let's help you. Get you back on your feet. You need that, you need more. That's what happens in Les Miserables. But here's some more stories. Then there's another pastor who says he wants to teach forgiveness. Someone broke into their sanctuary, and he's starting to preach and teach about forgiving the person who destroyed his sanctuary. He says forgiveness is an individual option. We can forgive or we can feel bitter or insecure. I choose to carry on. And then we have a robber, a vandal, here in Ohio, after 30 years of not, doing his job, not being on top of things. He must have stole something. He says he told the note, a handwritten note sent to a Kmart store, and the president, Rob Bohr, got to read it. He said, I stole between $140 and $270 worth of merchandise in a Kmart in Cincinnati. Well, he wrote an apology note, and he also sent a $1,000 money order. He says, please accept this money in order as repayment. Your acceptance will be most appreciated. I am now God's child. How many thieves may have, and that's the story, and you'll find out about getting arrested for taking pieces of bread. That's Oliver Twist and everything like that. This stuff does happen. People stealing because they have needs, because they don't know what exists. That was one of the things in my stories that I've written for the college and others is, why do we have a lack of information? Here's the homeless shelter, here's the domestic violence shelter, but when you're in need and you're completely out of it, if that message is not being sent out effectively, you're on your own. You're on the street. You're sleeping on someone's couch. You're doing things that you shouldn't be with your body and whatnot. And I think if we as the church and others want to change the way things are done, we need to get the word out on how people can get help, even when they haven't even come to us for help. And that's what we're trying to do at JMC Ministries. We're trying to get these stories out. That's why I decided back in November, when I started finding these stories to write, when I was coming up time to have vacation from school, I knew this was a story I wanted to write about. I knew the movie was coming out. I knew it was something many of us can relate to on a personal note. Yeah, not all of us have this criminal record. Not all of us have this. But haven't we all needed forgiveness at some point for something we've done? I think so. Don't you think, Miranda? I mean, so much has happened and the over time that I can't honestly say that, without God, I don't know how I would make it. But yeah, I'll check out the article and read what I had to say, because I post a couple of Bible verses about the story of forgiveness. And I realize while people make mistakes and they do need to pay for the dues, and the police can get involved and arrest and whatnot, I understand that. But what happens when they get out? What happens when other things come into play? I think we as Christians can do a lot more to be effectively, being the hands and feet that we're supposed to be called to be. Miranda, chime in on this, because you look like you have something you want to say, and I know you always have something you want to say on these things, but you're not sure when I'm going to stop talking. So I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to let you talk about this for a little bit, because we've had this discussion here at the house. We've had this discussion with just about almost every person we've interviewed for the last 4 weeks.
I think it's very hard for a person to know when you should forgive and forget, and whether or not the person should be held accountable for their actions. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a very hard place to be when you're trying to make that decision. And I don't know how well I could even decide whether or not to forgive or to hold them accountable and say, well, you're going to pay for what you did. Because the human side of us always wants them to pay. Anybody that's done us wrong, anybody that's stolen, hurt us, the human side of us always wants them to pay.
Oh, yeah.
I truly believe that to be able to forgive and forget like that, mm-hmm. as in Les Miserables, the movie, and also in these circumstances in real life, it really takes divine intervention. It really does take the Holy Spirit speaking to you to know what to do. And if the Holy Spirit speaks and says forgive, then we must forgive, and we must let them
And here's
go.
the thing. I think the Holy Spirit says at all times you have to forgive people for what they do wrong to you. But there are many people that I don't think would do, many people would actually do what the man did in the movie and change his life. Many people would, as I've seen, take advantage of the system, mm-hmm. Take advantage of churches, individuals, and then people get burnt out.
Yes.
I think that's one. The other issue that's going on in the church today is not this, and it's not just the congregation that has burnout. There's ministry burnout.
Oh,
and there's a lot of ministry burnout where people are trying to help and give and give and help and help and give, and they're not seeing the fruits of their work. They're planting seeds and they're wanting to see fruit, and planting seeds. And that's the hardest part. That's where you're. I mean, let's think back. If you own a farm, I've been on a farm, I grew my own corn back at the house. Actually, in the neighborhood, I was still allowed to grow corn in Texas back then. Not sure if they still allow you to do it now. But grew my own corn, and what I had to do is bend over. You know, I'm having to bend over in the ground, and I'm having to dig on the dirt, and it got so bad we had to hire someone to till our backyard because it was filled with roots and stuff, and it was like tree roots from where we chopped down the trees. I'm saying all this stuff because it takes a lot of work. But what about when you start seeing, and like Mike's got a point, bitterness, unforgiveness will turn into bitterness, and that's the problem. So many people are enslaved to their emotional connection to what someone has done to them.
Oh, yes.
And you can, counsel until you're blue in the face.
Gary, every
if you don't
person,
forgive them, it's not going to.
Every person is guilty of that at one point or another. Let's just be honest. I still struggle with bitterness. At times. I have been reminded of it, and I'm just like, oh, I remember that. That makes me so angry. It does.
Oh yeah.
Let's be honest, church. We get angry. We get bitter when people have done us wrong. We're human.
Yeah,
we're not perfect. Let's stop acting like we're perfect, okay?
And that's the thing. It's like we should be able to. I understand there's the point of no return. But how do you deal with conflict where someone does something wrong to you and you forgive them and they keep doing it? And how can we really work together and heal one another so we can keep a coexistence? 5 people are in a room, okay? Let's play Christian Survivor. Put cameras up on the wall.
Well,
Big
what
Brother
does the
Christian
Bible
Survivor.
say about
and watch what
forgiveness?
happens.
It says, turn the other cheek. And then it says, forgive them 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times. It's basically you always forgive. And if forgiveness isn't always for the person that did you wrong, it's for yourself.
Yeah.
Forgive them for yourself so that you can move on.
Yeah, because that's the problem, explaining this whole issue about forgiveness. And I don't know if I've already done the Cross Effects Church sermon on forgiveness or not, because I didn't want to get into it too much, because I didn't want to. I have a sermon on forgiveness I'm going to be sharing on Cross Effects Church coming up soon. In fact, Cross Effects Church is starting tomorrow, and we'll be sharing about that here in a minute. But being held down for what someone else has done to you, how does that benefit you? I don't even need to do that. How would that really benefit you? To just allow someone who is downright, angry, mad, frustrated, and I get it. The problem is, we are human, and when someone does something wrong to us, our initial reaction is to try and one-up them. In other words, try to make certain that they know. This is the nicest way to put it. We're going to make certain that we're upset with you.
No, and
then after that, then you want to take. Then after they've gotten their attention, then we do what Miranda uses the word. It's called zing 'em. In other words, you called me a turkey. Well, I'm going to call you a big fat dinosaur. You try and do something.
You try to hurt them worse than they hurt you.
Hurt them worse than you've been hurt. Now, I'm going to share something that is not in the Bible, and it's called when somebody does something to you, do something worse to them. Guess where that phrase is found? It's found in Anton LaVey's The Satanic Bible. So essentially, we as humans and Christians are walking around praising Satan when somebody slaps us in the face, and then we get angry and say, "Why did you do that to me? I'm going to take all your chickens and eat them with baked potatoes. You baked potato." Essentially, you do something crazy like that.
That was just so random.
It's stupid, random, I know, but I couldn't, do something sinful. I had to do something funny to make people laugh, but it got your attention, right?
I'm just saying that was just random, how you came up with that.
Well, I'm thinking about what I ate
You must be
tonight.
craving baked potatoes and chicken really bad.
Baked potatoes
That's
and
all
chicken.
I can think.
But as I put up the Cross Effects image, I want you to share real quickly, Miranda, with yeah, it's almost a blooper. I was trying to keep it right at the edge of being serious but funny, because this is a hard topic to talk about.
It's very hard.
I mean, good grief, we do this every day to each other, don't we?
People have to like literally. We are almost every day having to forgive somebody for doing something to us.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we're driving in our car. Somebody's always cutting us off. Somebody's beeping their horn at us. Somebody's flipping us the bird, or the chicken, as Jeremy would call it. And, we have to forgive them for their stupidity. They're stupid. Or we have to forgive ourselves because we've done something wrong. And we have to ask somebody's forgiveness because we've done something wrong. We make mistakes every day. We're human. And I don't know what else to say. And Jeremy's out of the room right now. He had to leave the room for just a second to do something. But initially, that's why I really wanted to talk about the Les Miserables story in the movie, because I think as the church, that people have really lost sight of what we're supposed to be doing as the body of Christ at times. And we're just so focused on our gadgets and our iPods and our iPads and the latest this and that, and I want to go this place, or the latest song, or we're so distracted. And we've got to get back and focused on Scripture and loving one another and making time for each other. I think that's the biggest problem. We've become so busy doing what we want to do for ourselves that we've forgotten, hey, I'm supposed to do. Maybe I should do this for some, maybe I should call this person. Maybe I should go visit this person. I haven't talked to them for a long time. I need to make time for them. They were my best friend. And, things like that. And we've all been guilty of this. At one time or another, we've all been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it. I get busy and I forget, but we've got to take that quiet time. We've got to take that special time to stay focused on what our goal is as a Christian. It isn't to get the biggest home. It isn't to be in the biggest church or biggest church building with the biggest, instruments and this and that in the building and this much money to spend. It's about fellowship and getting out into the community and helping one another and making a difference without any strings attached, and getting out there and showing forgiveness and showing love. I'm still not knowing what to say, Jer. So, as soon as Jeremy gets back in here,
Yeah,
and he's back,
and
so now you can take off the full screen image.
And here's the thing, I stepped out of the room, and I have to step out of the room again here in a minute. But as you see on the screen, as Miranda's been talking, and we got a lot of people in in the chat room. Cross Effects Church. Cross Effects Church. What is Cross Effects Church? Well, quite simply,
it is the new show it's an online church service that we are putting on the first Sunday of every month. For right now, it's going to be the first Sunday of every month, because we are limited on time and schedule because of Jeremy's college scheduling and everything. So it'll be the first Sunday of every month. So tomorrow will be our first service. It'll be broadcasted from 3 to 4 p.m. And Jeremy will either Jeremy will be bringing the message or I will be bringing the message, and we'll have praise and worship, and we'll have a great time. And it'll be a little bit different than JMC Live, of course. It's going to be a church service, so we won't, have all this downtime and stuff like that. It's going to be pretty, straightforward, we didn't want to start a church service. We did not. That was something we absolutely did not want to do. We thought, there's too many churches. Why do we need to start another one? But people ask, and so we are delivering. People that are following the ministry have asked us to do a church service on Sundays, so we will be doing it.
Oh, yeah.
We've got 4 months worth of content made. So,
Yep.
4 months worth of services made, so we are ready to go.
And the reason why it's what we mean by 4 services made is I have to go in and make the text for each service.
Yep.
We have to record quality worship videos with on-screen text, and then recording quality sermons that will only be shown first live on Sundays, first Sunday of the month. Now here's what we're also going to do. In the midst of all this stuff, in the midst of everything that's happening, what we're going to do is we're going to promote people attending a physical church.
Yep.
Because we are not the only solution to your non-church attendance. Because there are 3 levels that need to happen. We're going to do social media, our media, and then your local stuff. So we can get you connected on a national, international level with things. That's fine. But we want you to essentially be able to be comfortable enough to understand about your faith. This is an enhancement of your faith. Because what is happening today and across America is many churches don't have a Sunday night. Some of them don't have a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. In fact, I didn't know there was a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday until I moved to Ohio. But anyway, people don't have that stuff. 2, the other part of this is eventually there will be other ministers filling in, if we get it scheduled right, filling in for Cross Effects Church. So essentially, there'll be a 2-fold thing happen. We will have interviews of these other ministries, and there will also be sermons from other ministries. And it all, comes into play.
So on JMC Live, we'll have interviews with the ministries, and then hopefully we can get some of the ministers we've interviewed to come on to Cross Effects and do a sermon for the online service.
And then the other thing that we've done, and it's happened a couple of times, most of the time what's happened is we've had behind the scenes special guests that view the show. That will continue. I will have some online co-hosts from every now and then. And then sometimes you'll actually see someone here, filling in with me in this room. So every opportunity for this to expand will happen. The other thing, we'll be updating probably tonight as we get the Mike Wells video ready. We're going to expand the volunteership of what we have. We already have one document for everything. We're going to probably split it up, look it over, let some others look it over. I'm going to be posting this in the Facebook group for those that are serious about working with us more, because it does need to be expanded just a little bit. Like our wonderful web designer XSO that's in Canada, he's great with videos and web design and graphic design. I know a little bit about it, but if we had one other person that could help with that, that'd be great. If we had someone that could help with video editing, audio editing, that'd be great. People that want to be here to help facilitate stuff when I have to leave the room for whatever reason, that'd be great. So honestly, that's 3-4 people. Yeah, his XSO, it's his website, his design. The only thing we did was create the videos. Gave him some ideas of what we wanted, colors, fonts, I'm kind of okay with Photoshop and whatnot. He's the one who's doing that. We go and find templates for, like he made the banner. But then I took it here locally to Art Tech in Chillicothe and got a nice, wonderful ministry discount to get this banner made. Well, I turned around and said, "Hey, Andy," that's his name, "can you shrink this big, massive banner down to a business card size?" I just got the business cards made. The cool thing is about XSO, he also has his own business. So that's what we also try and do, is help him find work when he needs work. So he's a great guy to get stuff done. I can't think anything more for the guy. Like I said, he's in Canada. Great guy. He's done a great job to help us. See, I'm about to put him to work here on getting a graphic made. He's probably got something in mind already for the Cross Effects banner. We're going to have to go online, start looking for an intro video here in a little bit. Pay for it. What we do is we find them on like Video Hive and other websites. We pay for the license of them, and then we pay for licenses for songs that we're going to use. We talked about getting a little jingle for podcast. We talked about getting a jingle for the interviews, along with some kind of, I don't know. The problem is I can't make up my mind. That's one of the big issues. I haven't taken the time to do it. Yeah. But anyway, for those of you who want to know more about what's happening with Andy and with me, head over to the Facebook group, the JMC Ministries Facebook group. Not the page. The page is the ministry page. This is the group for those that are, wanting to be involved with the core stuff and everything. And we're going to go from there. Miranda, do you have any other final thoughts for us before we go?
I'm just glad you're back, because I was running out of words to say.
That is a first for this new year. Miranda doesn't know what to say. And on that note, this has been JMC Live. Thank you guys for coming. I'll stay in the chat room to talk to you while I get the video downloaded. We'll see you with a video posted, 2 videos posted tomorrow. And yeah, everything should be posted tonight and tomorrow. It'll be good. This video should show up in the live stream player. So if you want to watch it again, you can. And we'll see you soon. God bless.